understand that it actually is clean and according to the principles, what you do is you apply machine learning to it. The machine learning is basically talking with the data to find out certain things. So one example is that based on the internet usage of Pratyush on his smartphone, what exactly is the next Facebook post that Pratyush is likely to interact with on Facebook whenever he goes next, or based on the buying behavior of Pratyush across India in the last 6 months, which exact city is Pratyush more likely to order from, and once I probably know which city, then which exact item is Pratyush more likely to order from. So just to give you a brief, more intuitive sense. So since I study in Varanasi, but I stay with my family in Visakhapatnam, uh, I am supposed to spend, the summer vacations outside of Varanasi, right? I'll either be doing an internship or a project somewhere, or I'll be staying with my family, right, at the house. However, when the academic semesters run, which is typically from August to December, I'll actually be studying in the college. So in 2020, if Amazon wants to sort of know that Pratyush is actually a student who studies in Varanasi, and he'll probably be in Varanasi during the time from August to December. And since I'm in college, I'll probably order something that college students typically order. Something like a deodorant, something like a toothpaste, something like a book, something like a copy, something like a notebook, something like, say, a shaving kit. Could be anything that typically college students use. So Amazon can use that information to actually get those items closer to Varanasi, so that whenever actually I place that order, Amazon does not spend a lot of money or does not take a lot of time to deliver that to my house, right? A lot of times you see that this item will be delivered to your house in 14 days, or say in 7 days, or in one day. That differentiation basically comes from how well they have been able to predict your user behavior till that point, right? So this basically is the machine learning part, where you actually use Python or R to understand the differences between the various data points that you have. And then once you have used this machine learning technique, you again use a data visualization library, or because that's an entry rank. A data scientist is a senior level, and ideally data analysts with some years of work experience go on to become data scientists. However, there are exceptions. If you're a very strong engineer with a strong domain knowledge in a particular industry, you can be hired as an associate or, say, a trainee data scientist. That typically happens in engineering schools, where people sort of graduate with 5-year degree programs with a BTech and MTech. So Nipun, can you probably sort of help me in answering the questions? There are a lot of them.
Yeah, sure. So before that, we go to the comments. Anyone in the chat room would like to ask the question directly to Pratyush? Anyone?
Hello Pratyush, this is Astha. I have a question. There's an echo problem.
So Astha, I'm not sure if I heard your question correctly. Could you please repeat yourself? Or in case it's easier for you, you can type it down in the comments as well.
So, I'm a commerce graduate and I have already done introduction to R. And now I have purchased the course from Udemy of machine learning from A to Z. So, I am familiar with R, but now since you have told, like, I have also heard that Python is a good language to have a command over to as compared to R. So, I find Python more difficult as compared to R. So, should I command over Python or R, or should I take both along? So, what are your comments?
Yeah, okay, Asta. So it's great to know that a commerce graduate is actually finding R easier than Python. So kudos on that. A lot of engineers will find Python easier than R. Kudos on that. However, if you've learned R and you're comfortable with R to sort of manipulate numbers, and you have actually done courses on that, there's no need to sort of switch to Python. I'm pretty if the machine learning A to Z course is on Udemy, I'm pretty sure it also has an R section. So, right, if you have learning.
always means like engineer have a upper hand on languages. So there are big data cloud computing which uses Hadoop. So there are many languages. So uh, we have a like fear of coding. So is it preferable for a commerce graduate to move into this side, or will always engineer have a upper hand in data, being a data scientist or going in the data scientist field?
Right. So it's a very interesting question and a very relevant one, especially given that the entire audience is sort of split between engineers and commerce grads. Ideally, what happens for engineers is that engineers tend to just find the machine learning aspect of the entire data science pipeline very attractive. I mean, they're very drawn into that. No one sort of finds it interesting to sort of, use data wrangling. I mean, wrangling is the process of extracting the data from the data warehouse and then using standardized statistical techniques to fill in the missing values, visualization. So these are aspects which engineers don't find attractive. I mean, engineers want to just deep dive into the machine learning part of it. However, I mean, in the current world, there is a lot of demand for people who can do all these things, right? So understanding the ins and outs of the algorithms is totally okay. Inventing new algorithms is also okay. However, there are very few people who can actually bring in the data to a level where it can actually be fed into an algorithm to get an output, right? So getting that, I mean, data to a quality where it can actually be fed into an output. I mean, fed in as an input to an algorithm as A to get an output C is something which not a lot of people can actually find. And I'm pretty sure if commerce graduates actually use their training in the field of commerce, right? I mean, their entire understanding of accounting, their understanding of business law, their understanding of corporate law, understanding of finance, economics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, how a particular credit card to sort of master. I mean, I'm pretty sure your actually coursework is very related to this, and also build in the skills to extract that data, that is wrangling, visualize the data, that is data visualization, and then actually use machine learning to just extract the insights out of these. So I mean, if you guys focus on that, I'm pretty sure that you guys won't be left behind engineers. However, it will be very different. Engineers will probably be lagging behind it because jobs in machine learning requires a PhD degree or an MS degree. So no one probably hires a BTech graduate to work on cutting edge algorithm development in the field of machine learning. Most of you would actually be doing an end-to-end work, and this is where, I mean, engineers just find the machine learning aspect of it good. However, I mean, it's totally wise and it's totally okay to focus on the other aspects as well. Data wrangling and data vision are just as important, if not more. I hope this answers your question.
So yeah, we are having a lack of time here. So guys, if you have any more questions, I'm sure Pratyush will write his LinkedIn account down there. You can contact him directly there, I guess, and he'll answer most of your questions there. And I would like Pratyush to thank for this very informative session today. I think most of your doubts and your basics are clear about data science now.
Thank you, Nipun. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I was able to address the basic questions of people. I mean, given that we still have about 2 minutes left, we can probably answer some of the questions that I see are very interesting as well. So, what is the difference between data analytics and business analytics? So, data analytics, I mean, is just analytics on data that does not give you business insights, right? So the data science pipeline that we talk about, data wrangling, data visualization, and then applying machine learning is data analytics. If I'm using all of that information to actually give a recommendation, if I'm recommending some insight to decision makers, that becomes business analytics. So there's not a lot of difference. I mean, business analytics is probably an extension of data analytics. The next question is, what would be a business analyst be doing in Goldman Sachs? My understanding of roles in Goldman Sachs or most banking firms sort of revolve around this, that any newcomer in the field of banking is given the term analyst. So analyst basically is an entry level rank. I'm not sure business analyst would be any different from a data analyst in Goldman Sachs. So you basically will have a lot of information on financial services. You're expected to crunch those numbers, come out with some recommendations, and recommend something to the decision makers in Goldman Sachs to come out with a particular financial product or a financial service or maybe something else in the entire exercise. So there's another question that someone probably wants to understand the difference between a sports analyst, right? So it's a very interesting field, and I'm actually doing a current project on that. The current project is basically, I'll take the example of IPL. IPL is a very nice example to sort of demonstrate or answer a particular question. So if I'm say Mumbai Indians and I'm facing Chennai Super Kings in the IPL final, which was actually what happened last year, what I'll probably do is I'll analyze the scores of each and every player. I'll analyze the entire history of Chennai Super Kings as to how well they have performed against Mumbai Indians and how well they have performed against other teams in the finals, and I'll recommend those pure numbers to my management team, to the coach or to the captain. So that basically would be the role of a sports analyst. Right? I'm just recommending the numbers. However, if I am also able to figure out a particular plan that, say maybe whenever MS Dhoni is